My boxing fans out there, my UFC fans out there, where y'all at? All right, let's talk a little bit, man. Right now, I'm just, on the bed chilling, and I feel like talking about this whole John Jones juicing situation, and I want biggest in boxing and UFC. Now, let me tell y'all this right now. I was gonna make a video about this, but I told myself, you know what? Let me just make two birds with one stone. So, in this video, I am going to discuss, well, in this stream, I am going to discuss, let's just talk about the biggest letdowns in boxing and UFC. Now, again, y'all, I'm not the biggest UFC fan, but I'm what you call a casual UFC fan, and I am a big boxing fan, all right? But I do like combat sports. Now, with that being said, let's just get into this shit. All right, you got John Jones, man. John Jones let me down, man. I must say it. This is John Jones' third time getting caught juicing. Now, you know what's messed up for me is that when John Jones first got caught for juicing, I had his back. I was one of the only ones. What's up, Jack Harvard? What you think about John Jones juicing, man? I was one of the only guys that had John Jones back and said, it could have been a mistake. It could have been a coincidence. I'm one of the only ones. Everybody thought I was crazy when I said that John Jones could be innocent. Um, I really do feel, in my personal opinion, that John Jones, he been juicing since day one. I mean, when you get caught three times, it's different. Okay, when you got caught the first time, we kind of swept it up under the rug. You got caught again, mm, it's kind of made you look real bad. But when you ask me, it's three strikes you out with anything you do. Now we're gonna talk about the biggest letdowns in a minute, but I want to hear about some UFC. Let's see who. What do you think about this? I'm coming back to the UFC. Jack Hardy, why you always trolling with me, man? Let's get real, man. Let's really talk. Yeah, man. John Jones. This is definitely. This has definitely his legs cannot come back from this in any fashion. I really don't think is anything John Jones could do that could come back from the third failed. I don't think it's nothing he could do. But I just feel he fucked up, man. And as much as I this, Daniel Cormier has to feel a because let's just say you got your ass whipped. Yes, you're the person that's looking. Let's just say you got your ass whipped three times by a person, and you was in the UFC, and you got your ass whipped by the same person two times, but they get caught three times for a dirty drug test. Wouldn't you feel a little good? Marinate on that for a minute. Wouldn't that make you feel like, yeah, I lost two times to that guy, but at the very least, he was arguably dirty when I fought him. I wasn't dirty, but he was. So he had an unfair advantage. That puts a little ease to that loss that Daniel suffered from John. I know it did. Just think about that. It had to. It literally had to. Daniel, you can say whatever you want. You can be as political and you can hide it all you want to. But we know you're somewhere laughing your ass off and happy as hell that John Jones has been caught because you get a little relief from the loss that you suffered. Now, I also want to talk about, now that we're done with John Jones, it's not going to be a long live. This is going to be a quick one. But I told myself instead of making a video, let me make a stream. So I feel that that kills John Jones. I don't even know if John Jones is going to make it to the Hall of Fame now. I mean, it's hard to kind of not say that because he does have some big wins under his belt. But I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't, man. So But what else do we have out there? The biggest letdowns in boxing and UFC. What do y'all think about the biggest letdown? I think Conor McGregor had a letdown. You can argue that he was a letdown. Tyson Fury was another letdown, but Tyson Fury was able to come back and let down in the moment when he was on the coke, when he was gained all that extra weight. That was definitely a letdown right there. Um, what else do we have out there that fighters that could be a letdown? Yeah, Tyson Fury, man. A lot of people thought Tyson Fury should have retired. So we definitely would have to say that's a letdown. What else do we have out there? What other fighters do we have down? You could say Canelo Alvarez with the steroids. Yeah, the boxing. I would say UFC. Another letdown was even though she didn't really do nothing wrong, I would have to say the girl that was they was trying to say she would beat up Floyd Mayweather and all this extra dumb shit. What's her name? Ronda Rousey. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Ronda Rousey was a letdown. It's just because to me a letdown is not really losing. A letdown is like either somebody overhyping you or you had everything in your hands at one point and you don't have anything no more. That's a letdown in my opinion. And Ronda Rousey, she was just too overhyped for me to leave her off the letdown list. Like, um, sorry, Ronda Rousey. Mm, Adrian Broner. If he wins this fight with Pacquiao, that would kind of redeem it a little bit. But I would definitely have to say Adrian Broner most definitely is a letdown. Because Adrian Broner at one point he was getting compared to Floyd Mayweather. He could arguably be the next Floyd Mayweather. Um, Adrian Broner could have been a pay per view star if he was still. And it wasn't even the Maidana loss. I think the Maidana loss kind of made Adrian Broner more of a beast when it comes down to him. Him facing a good competition and stuff like that. But I would say AB is just a letdown in my opinion because AB was at once upon a time literally compared to Floyd Mayweather. These are facts. So that was that. Bro was definitely a letdown. I'm gonna have to throw Billy Joe Saunders on this list. The reason I'm throwing Billy Joe Saunders on this list is because he's a guy that calls everybody else out for their shit. He's a guy that basically clowns other fighters for being on steroids. Called Canelo a drug cheat. Called Deontay Wilder a racist cunt. My point is he calls everybody else out for their bullshit, and yet he's the one doing steroids or juicing. So that's definitely a letdown to me from Billy Joe Saunders. Any more letdowns in boxing or UFC that I'm aware of? Um, you know, Brock Lesnar. You know, I, I gotta throw Brock Lesnar in this, y'all. I know Brock Lesnar is doing a little better now, but Brock Lesnar at one point, you can argue that he was, he just came out of wrestling, strong fighter. But if I'm not mistaken, Brock Lesnar got called for PEDs too, and he really haven't done much in his UFC career. Um, but with that being said, I'm not gonna throw Brock Lesnar under the bus like that because Brock Lesnar, he still had a good career with the WWE. I will say that. But Brock Lesnar is a letdown in my opinion because Brock Lesnar could have been a fucking star in the UFC if he just would have done great. And Brock Lesnar, he's winning. Brock Lesnar is winning in life, of course, but Brock Lesnar could have done better. Whatever. What do you think? He said, "What game you know?" I know all the games, all of them. But let's talk about some letdowns in boxing and UFC, Jack Harvard. Let's talk about that. What's some more letdowns before I get up off of here? It's not gonna be a long one. We just talk about letdowns in boxing and UFC. The biggest letdowns. What's another letdown? I named Tyson Fury already. Biggest letdowns. You could throw Shannon Briggs in there, y'all. Shannon Briggs. I mean, that's not really a surprising letdown though, because Shannon Briggs, we all knew he was on some type of steroids and shit. But Shannon Briggs is most definitely on that letdown list. I would definitely say that. Um, but it's not nothing to really elaborate off of. We just know he's on that list. Any more letdowns in boxing and UFC? But the moral of the story is, you guys, John Jones is the biggest letdown. Whenever you fellas test 3 times, arguably could have been one of the best in the UFC. That is a terrible letdown, y'all. I'm hoping I'm not leaving anyone out of these letdowns. Another letdown is Victor Ortiz. Oh my God. I have to throw Victor Ortiz in this one. Victor Ortiz is a fucking letdown. Victor Ortiz is a letdown. Victor Ortiz, when he fought Mayweather, he just beat Berto. Even after the Maidana loss, he's still a factor. He was still a factor. He dropped everybody he's faced. Arguably the first to beat Lamont Peterson. You know, to this day, till this day, nobody has beaten up on Maidana like Victor Ortiz. Then Victor Ortiz turned into this warrior, vicious fighter slash beastie fighter. He turned into this quitter. Even after the Maidana fight, we still forgave him. He turned into a quitter. He quitted against Berto, I thought. Mayweather, some people thought he quit against him. Um, he didn't beat Devin Alexander. So Victor Ortiz is most definitely a fucking letdown. A big, enormous letdown. Um, Any more letdowns in boxing before I get off, man? Like, Um, Another person that's a letdown to me is Lucas Matisse, man. Lucas Matisse at one point was a force to be reckoned with. Um, then every time he stepped up and faced elite competition, he either quit or got beat. And some people thought he quit versus Pacquiao. You guys, it is a few letdowns in boxing, but UFC is John Jones. He's the biggest letdown. In boxing, I would say the biggest letdown is probably, I don't know, when Tyson Fury redeemed himself, but in that moment of time, it was probably Tyson Fury. All right, y'all, I'm out.